This is a new level of gunning. I'll have to record it in my holo memoirs. The working title is Onaka Dreams. It's 160 hours of non-stop pirate action and adventure.
Can't wait to hear it.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. How are you all doing? It's been too long, as always, unfortunately, because to be honest, I've been very pressed on time with the Middle-earth channel and simply live stuff, and most importantly, there just isn't really that much Star Wars gaming stuff to talk about. Obviously, we've had some interesting stuff over the last couple of months, such as Zero Company being revealed by Respawn at Star Wars Celebration, as well as Star Wars making a grand appearance in Fortnite, which is actually growing really popular and is even starting some Battlefront talks. And don't worry, I have a video planned for all of these other stuff that will be coming out fairly soon actually. And of course, even though not gaming related, we have Andor Season 2, which has been phenomenal so far, and by the time you're watching this video, it might actually be Season 2 finale day. But for the video today, Ubisoft were kind enough to give me early access to the new DLC to Star Wars Outlaws, A Pirate's Fortune. And as always, full transparency, it's not a sponsored video, they didn't pay me, and honestly I didn't even have to make this video. But I figured early access to a Hondo DLC, I want to check it out and see what I think. So that's what I did, and that's what you're gonna hear about in this video. The DLC actually drops today, I think, by the time this video drops, and it's the second one for Star Wars Outlaws, which is also included in the Star Wars Outlaws Season Pass, and I think it's around 15 bucks if you want to buy it separately. So what is this DLC and what did I think about it? And well, the main character is obviously Hondo Ohnaka, and I'm gonna get back to this so many times during this video, but that's like the biggest selling point for me. I love Hondo both in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, so the fact that they actually made a dedicated DLC around him, and most importantly, they brought back Jim Cummings as the voice actor too, just made this a big win for me. And the main story in the DLC kind of starts off with Kay just getting a secret message from who we know is Hondo, but Kay or ND5 has no idea who it is. And you have to figure it out by finding clues to a treasure map and things like that, which is quite fun, like a typical pirate's adventure looking for treasure. And it's both frustrating and fun to see how they obviously don't know that that's Hondo Ohnaka, but for us, we see it the second he pops up in the hologram and the second we hear his voice. And I'm also gonna keep this fairly spoiler-free and just mention some brief story moments, and especially keep the end of the story spoiler-free. Once we do get introduced to Hondo and we have to help him break out and go on an adventure with him, it really is like you kind of would have expected. They wrote his character really good in this game, and he has the same kind of charisma, style, and everything you would expect from him as he did in the Clone Wars and Rebels, which means that every little interaction is a lot of fun. Even if you're just flying in the ship or his bantering with ND5 or other pirates, he to me really is the main thing in this DLC. And he also throws out some references to the Clone Wars, which is really fun, such as when he captured Dooku and Obi-Wan.
Of course, you know, Clanker. I once captured leaders from both sides.
At least that's what I think he refers to with this line. So for those of you who like Easter eggs and references, I think it's a great DLC, and I'm sure there's a lot of things I overlooked since it was a while since I watched the Clone Wars and the Hondo parts specifically, to be completely honest. They've also added some really nice quality of life updates, such as free speeder shooting, as well as actually being able to carry special weapons you pick up. I really hated how early in the game you pick up a special weapon, and as soon as you swap back to your normal weapon or you start crawling, you lose that special weapon. But now you can actually carry that as a secondary weapon and swap to it whenever you want. I'm honestly not sure why that wasn't in the game from the start, but a very welcome quality of life update. They also introduce a new faction in this DLC with the Miyuki Trade League that will give you new missions and various rewards for your ship, but I honestly didn't have time to do much of that and mostly focused on the main story. So how long is this DLC? Well, I think it took me around 4 to 5 hours to get through the main story, and that doesn't include all of the extra stuff with the Miyuki Trade League and their various missions, but that was just the main story. I'm honestly not sure if that is good or bad or just average, because as you guys know, I haven't really played that much single player games, at least not that have DLC. It's mostly Star Wars single player games like Jedi Fallen Order, Survivor and such. But personally, I thought it was a nice little adventure, which neither felt too long or too short. But I also wanted to briefly mention something with the ending without actually spoiling the ending, but I did think that it was a little bit anticlimactic, to be completely honest. It wasn't really what I hoped for, and I'll leave it at that, but I did however hear that there's actually a potential for different different endings to the story depending on the dialogue you choose. So I'm very curious to see everyone else's playthroughs of the DLC and how it differs from mine. All in all, it was a solid DLC, and for anyone who loves Hondo, you're really gonna enjoy the DLC. And for me personally, I haven't really played Outlaws that much since it was released, since I kind of burned through the entire game and all its parts very quickly, since I wanted to make that full review video for you all, and I rarely replay single player games unless it's like a year or two after. So it was really nice to just jump into the end game and play this DLC and see how the game has been updated since I last played it. But I would love to hear in the comments below, are you guys still playing Outlaws? Are you interested in the DLC? Or have you completely moved on from Star Wars Outlaws to other games? But I think that wraps up my review of the DLC. A short but sweet story pack that focuses obviously a lot on Hondo. And if you enjoyed the base game of Outlaws and you like Hondo, I think you're really gonna enjoy the DLC. But on the other hand, if you've moved on from Star Wars Outlaws and you feel like you're done with it, it doesn't really add anything new in terms of gameplay, except for some very minor stuff. So I would say that it's mostly worth it for the story and Hondo. Anyways, keep your eyes peeled for some other Star Wars gaming talks videos soon. I promise it's not gonna be as long as it was from the last one, as I think there's some interesting rumblings in the community right now. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.